How trauma and survival shape the way we love, lead, and live. So, a few years ago, I found myself sitting in my car after an argument, staring straight ahead in complete silence, replaying the conversation over and over again, and wondering how had I somehow become the problem in situations that were consistently hurting me. And I remember thinking what many people in emotionally unhealthy relationships begin to think. Maybe I'm asking for too much honesty, too much consistency, too much communication, and too much emotional presence. But what I eventually began to understand was that I was not asking for too much. I had simply become accustomed to emotionally unavailable people giving me far less than I deserved while simultaneously making me feel guilty for needing more. And once you have experienced enough emotionally immature relationship, enough gaslighting, enough inconsistency disguised as love, sometimes some things begin to happen psychologically. You start doubting your own instincts. You start over explaining yourself. You start becoming hyper aware of other people's moods while disconnecting from your own needs. You begin managing relationships through emotional survival rather than emotional safety. As both a sociologist and storyteller, I have spent years thinking about the hidden ways people adapt to emotional survival. In my research, my creative work, and in the conversation with people over the years, I've noticed something fascinating and deeply unsettling. Many people have become so skilled at surviving that they no longer recognize survival in themselves at all. It simply becomes who they are. Hypervigilance becomes over-observant. Emotional self-protection becomes independence. Exhaustion becomes ambition. And the ability to function while quietly falling apart becomes something people praise you for. We live in a world that rewards people for surviving beautifully, especially Black women and women who learned very early that love could disappear, safety could disappear, belonging could disappear, and that the quickest way to avoid abandonment was to become useful. So people become caretakers, performers, high achievers, the person who holds everything together because somewhere along the way, they learned that competence feels safer than vulnerability. And many people become so fluent in survival that they no longer recognize themselves outside of it. That is the part I think we don't talk about enough.